What's up, people? Welcome to my first video of a new series called Grinds My Gears. It's where I talk about issues in the trucking industry, and hopefully future videos are going to be issues that you guys want to talk about. So leave me issues you want to see in future videos down in the comments section. Today's video, I want to talk about fixing the trucking industry. This is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people. One of the most common things I hear to help or start and fix the industry is driver training, and I agree with that, but only on the surface, I guess. A lot of people are advocating for more training to obtain your CDL, which is great. I agree with that, but I think the way things are done now have to be completely changed before anything will actually change. For instance, what will more training do? You know, anyone out there with a CDL, most likely who obtained their CDL recently, went through some type of truck driving school, and you know what it's all about. What's extending that going to do? Absolutely nothing. I think a bigger problem is responsibility of each and every individual driver, and I don't think there's a really good way to monitor that. For instance, for those of you drivers watching right now, I'm sure some of you are guilty of it yourself. When you wake up in the morning in a truck stop and you're getting ready to go, the truck stop's starting to wake up, trucks are coming and going, most of them are going, waking up after their breaks. How many hoods do you see cracked open in the truck stop? Not very many at all. Not very many at all. And I mean, what is it? The main thing that truck driving schools teach? Pre-trip inspections. I mean, this is the most basic and simple part of obtaining your CDL, pre-trip inspections. Most guys go out of the truck stop without even looking at their trailer lights. I mean, they'll wake up, walk into the truck stop, get their big gulp, 9-gallon jug of coffee, get back in the truck, stick her in the gear, and get up the road. Now, that has to change. I don't think more training is going to do anything. It's just going to extend the amount of time it takes before a driver gets into a driving position where he doesn't follow those rules. It's going to increase the cost of CDL school. I remember back when I was playing football, I had a coach that used to tell me, because practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Now, we can do all the teaching you want, but if it's never applied, which I guarantee you, industry-wide, that is a huge, huge problem, where the most basic things taught in CDL school are not applied out here in everyday life. Now, I do think some of it is unreasonable expectations for some of the rules that are happening out here. But I also think that another problem is the driver's personal responsibility of doing these things. And most drivers are not willing to do that. And I mean, even simple things, you get a lot of experienced drivers. I mean, anyone who's driven on the road, whether you're a truck driver or not, how many times have you been through a construction zone and the speed limit's 50, 55? And how many trucks do you see whizzing right by you at 65 plus miles per hour? Any construction zone in the country, you'll see that. I guarantee that. I mean, for instance, let's pick a popular road here. The Ohio Turnpike. All kinds of construction, big, long stretches of construction going through there currently. You go through there, you do the 50 miles an hour, there's trucks passing you, cars too. But I don't hold the cars as responsible. I know a lot of drivers will constantly say that about how we have so much more laws and regulations, but the four-wheelers, the cars, if you're not familiar with that term, are breaking the law just as much, but they don't have as many laws and regulations. And I think that's correct. I don't agree with them on the basis of them being angry about it, but we're the professional drivers out here. We drive so much more than they do. We've been trained to drive supposedly trained. You know, I think the vast majority of drivers out here probably driving 5 years or longer. If you sent them back to CDL school today, they'd probably get the driving part down, but all the book stuff, all the tests, I don't think half of them would pass those tests, because, like I said, it's not something you keep up on, and I do think that what they're teaching is somewhat, not completely, but somewhat unreasonable. You know, we are out here to make money. Nobody wants to get out of the truck every single day and do a 45-minute to an hour pre-trip, crawl into the trailer, your tractor, check all the brakes, check every single tire pressure, even though that's very important, actually. But, I mean, I do think it's a bit unreasonable. I do think there should be a better system of doing that. And yeah, it just, I don't think that the industry, driver-wide industry, is where it should be. You know, a lot of the old school truckers, not even just old school truckers, but a lot of people currently in the industry point the finger at the new drivers. And if you go on any social media, you know, particularly Facebook, you go on Facebook groups, you're constantly seeing pictures of flipped Swift trucks, or a Warner truck that hit a bridge, and a Snyder truck that's jackknifed, and they say, look at these rookies out here. Well, I think it's kind of unfair to point these particular companies, these mega fleets, out, simply because, I mean, these companies all have about 10,000 plus trucks, you know, around there, and they're obviously going to get into more accidents than a company with 3 trucks. You know, so I do think it's a bit of, I don't think a lot of drivers really stop and think about that. You know, well, this, you know, Swift, I think Swift's the biggest company, trucking company in the country right now, and they've got, I think, over 10,000 trucks. And of course, yes, they have new drivers. They have a lot of new drivers. That's kind of what they're known for, training. They're a training company. And yeah, training people who are brand new are obviously going to get into more incidents than an experienced driver. But also, just the sheer volume of trucks is going to say that they are going to get into more big wrecks than a smaller company is. You know, and a lot of times those pictures will be posted up, and there's no even backstory behind it. It could be, I mean, these companies, Swift and Warner and all the mega fleets, they all have multi-million mile drivers in their fleets. So I think that a big problem in the industry is getting current drivers to adhere to what they should be doing. You know, they should be pre-tripping every day. They should be doing the speed limit. You know, and you know, it does sort of infuriate me when a news crew or a news agency will run a report on a truck driver that got into a wreck, or there was one just recently about speeding truck drivers I saw, and a lot of truck drivers were really upset about that. So they're demonizing truck drivers. They're demonizing truck drivers, and I think that's absurd. That is absurd, and a lot of these drivers get mad at the people reporting on them. And I don't think that's where the blame should be. I think the blame should be on the drivers that they actually catch doing wrong stuff. You know, if you're doing 10 over in a construction zone, you should be caught and you should be penalized. You know, if you're tailgating, you shouldn't be doing that. That's how you get into big wrecks. You know what I mean? And, you know, we see all this technology coming out, e-logs, and I forget what the system, there's a, basically like a little eye on the front of these newer trucks, and some of them, and they'll start beeping at you when you're too close to the next truck and all that. Why do you think these systems are coming out? Is it just because they want to screw drivers? No, of course not. Of course, there is a driver shortage, and however you want to, I see that's another argument that some people are making. There's not actually a driver shortage, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I do know what I see, and that's pretty much every single company out there is trying to hire drivers as fast as they can, and that would indicate a driver shortage to me. Now some people say it's just a shortage of experienced and legitimate drivers, blah blah. That's another video, another topic. But for right now, we can start to fix the trucking industry from within the industry itself, not from new people that want to come in, because I do think the biggest influence to a new driver is what they see around them. You know, if you're in a truck stop and there's 100 trucks and no one's doing their pre-trip and everyone's throwing piss bottles out of the window, that all the other drivers are going to think, well, it's okay to not do your pre-trip and throw piss bottles out the window. So I think we need to change from the inside first, and that'll affect the new drivers coming in.